And so we discussed this briefly last night while we were on the air, the Celtics blew a 22-point lead and lost. No, it wasn't 20. What was their biggest lead? Rob G, looked that up. It was 22. All right, with 22, they were up with 9 minutes left. 22? Was it that? Okay, 22 points with 9 minutes left. I know it was over 20. I didn't know it was that much with 9 minutes left. But anyway, and the Cleveland Cavaliers, without their best player, Donovan Mitchell, came back and beat the Celtics 105-104. Rob, I don't want to make a big deal out of the loss. They had won 11 straight. They, or you can almost say they were due to lose. They may have been even looking at, they may have even been, yeah, they're right. They lost to the Lakers without LeBron and AD in Boston. And that was, so they probably overlooked the Cavs, got up big, relaxed. Cavs got hot, they got cold, and next thing you know, they lose the ball game. They also, Rob, may have been looking toward Denver, which that huge matchup tomorrow night. This is as big as a regular season game gets. I mean, I guess obviously if you got teams in the same conference battling for seeding, that's big. But we have what many people think will be a finals preview. Rob, Denver and Boston playing tomorrow night in Denver. Denver won the first game in Boston, so you got to believe Boston wants to return the favor and give the Nuggets a little something to think about should they meet in the finals. But I will say this, and look, I might pick the Celtics to win the East or even the whole thing. So I am not saying this like they're garbage. But, Rob, there are some things about them that are concerning. And we saw them last night, and again, I don't want to make too big of a deal out of that one loss, but I'm just saying these are patterns that I think they need to work on. Number one, the reasons they blew that lead. Number one, Rob, I've talked about it with you, and you know this, the over-reliance on the three. And they shoot 42 threes a game, almost half their shots. That's more than any other team in the league. And, Rob, they got cold.
And that's all it takes, right? Chris.
That's all it took. 0 for 8 in the fourth quarter from three. And since they love to jack up threes and not attack the rim as much as they should, they're good from two as well. But, Rob, they got one foul shot in the fourth quarter. You got a guy with Jayson Tatum's handle, a guy with Jaylen Brown, who's not the best ball handler, but he's good enough to get to the rack. Drew Holiday, draw some fouls. They had one free throw attempt. They're near the bottom 10 in free throw attempts. So that's one thing that bothers me, Rob, about them, or just something to look at. I don't want to say bother, but it's something to look at. The second thing is that, Rob, Jayson Tatum, who was 1 for 9 in the fourth quarter, is the fourth worst shooter in the league in clutch situations. He's shooting 32% from the floor in clutch situations. Fourth worst in the league. Clutch is, last 5 minutes, 5-point deficit or less. And here's where most people, Rob, aren't looking at that because the Celtics are blowing teams out. They've won 3 games by 50 or more. They win on average by 11 points plus.
But I told you that was a little misleading because of some of the big wins that they've had. You know what I mean? Their average.
Well, but that's only 3 games of 50.
I know, but I'm just saying when you average that in, though. What I'm saying,
still, they win it by 11 plus. They got like the 4th or 5th highest, win margin in history. And so basically, Rod, they don't play a ton of close games. So people don't see Tatum struggle as much as you might if they played more close games. But, Rob, they are 2-3 in overtime and 4-5 in games of 3 points or less. You're going to have maybe some of those games in the playoffs. So those are things they need to focus on. And what I would say quickly before you go is I don't mind you shooting a lot of threes. They shoot them at a high clip. They're like 4th in the league in 3-point percentage. So that's fine. But when you inevitably go cold, and you will on here and there, you have to be comfortable doing other things. Going to the bucket, attacking the rim, taking the mid-range, posting up. If I'm just missing three after three after three, I'm going to shake somebody and go to the hole.
Right. You got to stop those kind of droughts, get to the line, get fouled. Like whenever you look at teams that blow big leads, Chris, they don't go to the basket, they don't get any free throws, and they just keep putting it. It's a pattern. I mean, I'm shocked at coaches. You know, when a run is started, that you don't call timeout, draw up a play, and say, take it to the basket. The next three plays. They're all going to the basket. Just stop the bleeding. Like, I don't understand how these things happen because there's no way you should blow a 22-point lead with that kind of time left. That just shouldn't happen.
Well, the greatest example, Rob, and you remember Houston against Golden State when the Rockets missed 27 straight threes.
27. Like it's not conceivable, Chris, that you can miss 27 straight three-pointers.
27 straight.
It's mind-boggling. Just absolutely mind-boggling. But, the Celtics, this is why when they wrote the story the other day, Chris, about them being the Warriors and banging their chest and how.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't buy into it. A lot of people, we sat here, we're like, really? I don't know. As good as they are, we've seen the cracks in the armor. We've seen the bad moments. We've seen the postseason with the turnovers, and now you got the, not being clutch with Tatum. Those are facts, not feelings. Facts. Now you want to ask why Tatum was fifth in the MVP voting? Odds, Chris, not voting, but the odds.
Right.
Because people have seen this. Seriously. I think people have seen it. They don't make a big deal out of it because they win almost 60 games every year. But they've seen it. And that's the problem when you talk about the Celtics. That's what they have to overcome to get people to feel good about them, like they're going to take that next step. And yesterday was Exhibit A, if we were in a courtroom, Chris, of why people still don't buy all the way into the Celtics.
No, that's true. And Rob, you're talking about that article that was in The Athletic, and you're right. It talked about how the Celtics spread the floor with 5 3-point shooters and compared them to the Warriors, who even with Kevin Durant weren't doing that. They really still had 2 snipers from 3, Clay and Steph. But here's the other thing, Rob. Those Warriors weren't as predictable. They didn't only shoot threes. They also shot mid-range jumpers.
Right. They shoot more threes now, right? Don't they? During
they
that
do.
time?
And we get, obviously nobody at that time was shooting threes like they do now. But they got backdoor cuts. They always, typically had a big who here and there might be able to post you up or something. So I just think you have to have more than one bullet in your chamber, that if one isn't working, you got something else to go to. So we'll see. Like I said, I may end up picking them. I mean, I'm looking at the East, Rob. I mean, Milwaukee is, getting it together. Philly, when they get Embiid back, they should be better. But I just, it's going to be tough for them, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough to right that ship after so much time off.
Absolutely. In Miami, I mean, I respect them. They obviously have been to the finals 2 times in the last 4 years. It's just hard for me to pick them to win the East. But, hey, they might. But it's just, and then I think Cleveland, New York, Indiana, they're on the lower tier. So we'll see. I think Boston, if they don't, for them, it's championship or bust. It's not get to the finals or bust. It's championship or bust. So